Shalom, everyone. This is ZACHARIAH, Israel. A wonderful Sabbath day. We welcome everyone across the listening audience, all across the world, the United States, all the countries that are listening to us. Today we say welcome. We're glad to have you today. And you're entering into a class that has already begun. So we're going to continue our conversation for a few minutes, and then we're going to get right to the lesson. But, of course, you know, that this is what they call Black History Month. You know, it's always the same old stuff. It's always Rosa Parks on the bus and John Washington Carver and all that stuff. It's always the same thing. You know why? They don't want us to have a history past this nation right here.
Right.
Because we can't reach back in Africa and find our history and all the things that we did, because our history starts in Jerusalem.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Our nation began in the wilderness.
That is correct.
But when you got
right now, yes.
impersonating you, and you know, they don't want us to come. They don't want us to be there. They want us to still be shaking and shimmying and jigabooing, you know, and smoking and screwing each other and keeping us occupied with that. That's what they want us to do. But the Most High is waking up His people. And they stopping all that foolishness.
Because how we don't even have a name. They named us after two white people.
Right. Somebody's phone is echoing really bad. Could you please put your phone on mute? I think you might have just called in. Just mute your phone. You know, because it's really echoing, and it wasn't doing that before. Okay, thanks. But, yeah, I mean, you know, as we come into this knowledge, and it's Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, you know, it's always the same old folks all the time. And it's like, no, our history is richer than that. But in order for us to reach back and be able to tell our history, it's going to expose some things, and they don't want that to happen.
Right.
That's correct. They start telling the truth. The truth will be getting out. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they can't have that, man. See, even if they find that out, I mean, if they start going back into the history, those people in the land would be shaking in their boots, man, the ones that call themselves Israelites. You understand? Because they can't claim that no more.
And they have to, because guess what? They have a part to play. They got to play their part.
Absolutely. Right.
But do you really think the average American realizes that? Because, I mean, I know the probably Illuminati and know the difference, but I just think like the average Joe Blow that I see in the grocery store or whatever, I don't think they have a clue.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Dumb down to the point where they really don't care. As long as they get this, you know, when you get caught up in this American way, and you feel like you are in a land where you can compete with the next guy and live better than the next guy, and it's because of your achievements that you've made, the lifestyle for you and your family that you have made, and the things that you have done, they can care less. As long as they're allowed to keep doing the things that they like to do in their life, they don't care what happens from any other perspective. But the problem with that is that they don't understand that the lifestyle that they are living was purposed, and the things that they have acquired is because of the people that are in the land that they're holding captive. That's the only reason why this nation is where it is because the children of Israel are here, and the royal house of King David is here. That's the only reason why, in my opinion. Because the closer we get to ending this sentence, this thing is unraveling at the seams.
Certainly is.
But do they really see that? I mean, because I don't think they see it. It's just amazing to me to see some of the things that have just transpired here in the last 2 months.
Well, it's only the elite. It's only the elite, the ones that's up there. Those are the people that they know, you understand, who we are. Because when they came and got us out of Africa, they came and got us out of one specific area. That was the land of Judah, or Negro land. You understand? And they sent Africans into the interior, you understand, to get a few of us out of that interior, and they wind up getting a few blacks, you understand? But 82% of the people that came out of Africa was from Negro land.
And you know, when you understand that, you just get a better understanding of what's going on. I mean, you know, you watch it, it's just amazing. I mean, and it has nothing to do with us. We're not doing anything but waiting on y'all, and that's still a problem. And you know how you know we close to it is when the religious establishments start to acknowledging that we the children of Israel, and they're holding us hostage in those environments.
Yep.
Because everybody got rich off of us, from Christianity to Islam to all that. It took money to build that. Didn't nobody build that with magic and mystery. It took money. And it's the people in the establishments that bring their money that allow it to grow like it has grown. And if those people leave, their money leave.
Which is why the black pastors won't tell the truth.
They ain't gonna tell no truth. They'll tell you Israel, but you stay right here and do what you're supposed to do. They telling you now that you Israel. We got about 3 or 4 of them on YouTube now that are telling the people that they are the children of Israel. But there's a stipulation that comes with it. You got to stay in Christianity in order to. They call it Christian Hebrew Israelite.
Yeah.
Not only that, you understand, we always get the ones that can't do nothing, that can't that can't establish anything. You understand? For our salvation, they just hanging on their own self.
Exactly. And they don't want no part of it. I mean, they're not going to do nothing. No way. They're not giving up that money. So you do. You can be all those things, but you're going to stay right here and be it. You're not going to be it outside of this. Which brings me to my lesson. I'm glad we're getting ready to get that started. I am so excited about this lesson. We were talking about last week about the covenants, and we're going to continue on that. This is really going to be interesting for you all. I hope that you all enjoy this one, because I enjoyed putting this together, and I'm still not finished with this one, because it's important that we understand what this is, what the covenants is, because you know why? Somebody tell me, why is it important that we know about these covenants?
We need to know about what was established by the Almighty when we made this covenant with the Almighty. That's what got us in trouble, by us not keeping to the covenant.
That's right. We're going back to it.
I was going to say that the covenant pertains only to us. And that's know about it. It's important.
That's right. All of the above. And we're going to get started. For you all who cannot see the screen, I want to let you know the only thing you're going to miss is a few pictures, because we are going to be in the scriptures today. So we advise you to get your Bibles, or, go on the internet or whatever you need to do to read along with us, because we try to stay in the scriptures. And the reason why we do this is because we know that a lot of you all have family members who are thinking that you have gone and lost your mind with this stuff that you're learning right now. And the first thing they're going to ask you is, where is you getting all this stuff from? And when you can pick up that Bible and say, from this book right here that you have under your arm that you take to church with every Sunday, that changes the game.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of books out there, from the Apocrypha to all kind of stuff, and I don't knock it. The book of Joshua is mentioned in the scriptures. I don't knock any of that, but I try my best to stay in the Bible, because everything that you need is in there. It may not give full detail, but you get enough in there to let you know what the storyline is all about. The exit strategy, who the people are, what they did, the whole 9 yards is right in that scripture, in them scriptures.
One thing that I've learned over the period of time, that other books may say some profound things. Mm-hmm. You understand? But the whole story, if we can get into that book, it tells us who we are. Yeah. It has a beginning, a middle, and a future.
That's right.
And we're in the future. If you read that book, it'll let you know who's going to be in the future.
That's the truth. And the thing is that everybody say, well, it's been tampered with. We know that they've done a whole lot of things to change wording and all that. But guess what? Ask yourself this question. Who do you know that would write a book that would excommunicate themselves from the book, give a prophecy that they're going to be killed, and exalt a whole nother people of the book, and then call the book holy? How do you know that to do that?
Okay.
Esau. Because I wouldn't do it. There's no way I would would write a book and write myself out of it. I would be the victim. I would be the hero in the book, not the villain. And that whole Old Testament is about the children of Israel. So, which brings me to my point, Moshe's covenant. It says this covenant was strictly for the children of Israel, and it was given to them in the wilderness. We can't get away from the wilderness. We're going to Exodus chapter 24. I know some of these chapters going to bring up conversation. Please feel free. We just want to try to get as much of this in as we can. Exodus 24, verse 1. It says, and he said unto Moshe, come up unto the Most High, thou and Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. And he said, come up. But where was they coming up to?
Into the big cloud.
But where were they?
Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai. They was at Mount Sinai. In the wilderness. So it was Moshe, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. Now, this is very important because, and we're going to talk about the 70 elders because that established a whole nother book. Hold on, here we go. Verse 2, it says, and Moshe alone shall come near the Most High, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And when he came to when the Most High landed on Mount Sinai, these people went up into the mountain. Watch what happens. He says, and Moshe came and told the people all the words of the Most High and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Most High has said will we do. He said, and Moshe wrote all the words of the Most High and rose up early in the morning, verse 4, and builded an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Watch, verse 5. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Most High. Now, we know that with a covenant, in order for there to be a sacrifice, you got to do what to an animal?
Kill it.
You got to kill it. So these young men did that. They're getting ready to enter into a covenant with the Most High at Mount Sinai. Watch what happens. And Moshe took half of the blood and put it in the basin, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. So there's the oath. He's getting ready to tell them what they need to do. And they said, all that the Most High has said will we do, and be obedient. Verse 8. And Moshe took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Most High has made with you concerning all these words. Okay, now, let's go back here. So what we talked about last week, remember we talked about there had to be an animal, there had to be a killing of the animal, there had to be an oath, and there had to be blood. All of these things are being repeated now with the children of Israel. And the reason why this is being repeated is because they're about to enter into a covenant. So all of the items of the covenant have to be there. Any questions?
I was just thinking about verse 8. They standing there and he's throwing blood on them.
Absolutely.
Ain't that something? That's a fight. You know, you put that in your mind.
Sprinkling blood on everybody because the blood, there has to be the blood. Where there is no blood, there is no what?
Covenant.
There's no covenant and there is no remission of sin. You have to have the blood. The blood is important. You have to have it. It's not. It's a prerequisite. It must be there. If there is going to be an entering in of an agreement.
Let me ask you a question. When we go back into the land again, are we going to still have to put the? Are we going to go through the blood covenant?
That is a very good question. I'm on my way there, Brother Donnie. I promise you that one.
Okay.
I am promising you, hold that thought. So we know that the components are there. We had the animal, the killing of the animal, the collecting of the blood, the sacrificing of the animal, the oath of the words that are necessary for the covenant, and then the sprinkling of the blood onto the people. All right. Verse 9. Then went up Moshe and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. So they're going up this mountain. Watch. And they saw the Elohim of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness. So whatever he was in, the paved work of the flooring was blue. And when he went in the front of his, and it says, as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness. So when they looked up, they was like, wow. Watch what happened. Watch. He said, now watch what he did. Verse 11, he said, and upon the nobles of the children of Israel, he laid not his hand. Also, they saw Yah and did eat and drink. So in order for him not to touch him, he had to come pretty close, didn't he?
Yes, right. Real close. So they saw that ship, that vehicle, whatever he was in.
Yes, sir. He had to come pretty close for him not to touch him. So they having a board meeting now. They're eating and drinking, and, they seeing him afar. You know how you in the room with a real important person, and he all the way at the other end of the room, and everybody is oohing and ahhing at him, but you can't get close to him, but they're oohing and ahhing and eating and drinking. Watch verse 12. And the Most High said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments, which I have written that thou mayest teach them.
Another question.
Yes, sir.
And he says, and the law, and the commandments, which I have written. Now, when he talks about that, the laws that we receive from what we understand, 10 laws, right?
10
what are the commandments? Yeah. Are the commandments written on that same tablet?
Well, you and I discussed that before. It's a possibility that it is, but we know that Moshe went up on the mountain more than one time.
Well, see, the thing that I have always struggled with is that it says the tablets was written on both sides, not two different pages.
Right.
But both sides was written on. What we see, you understand, is the 10 Commandments written on two different tablets, not front and back. And I would venture to say that each one of those laws encompasses the 612 laws.
Well, one thing too, you have to remember this too. Movies have etched something in our brain that some of us can't seem to get rid of. You know what I'm saying? Watching those movies about Charlton Heston and the 10 Commandments and all that stuff, we revert back to that. Our mind can rewind the tape back to that. But one thing you have to understand is whatever was written on those tablets, the Most High wrote it, and the language that He wrote it in is not anything that anybody is speaking at this day and time.
That's a scroll.
So that's a possibility that it could have been written on both sides in a language that we don't understand.
Remember now, see, that's what I'm saying. See, the ancient language that we spoke at the mount, that the Almighty spoke from the mount to the peoples, we all knew that language. Everybody spoke that language. He spoke in a language that we all could understand. and the writings on those, what's the name? It doesn't, like we write see what we write here, we got, that fills up half the page. But the writings of ancient times didn't fill up the half the page.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a possibility that they all could have been on there. That's a possibility, for sure.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If the Israelites had not said that we're going to do all that the Lord commands, would they not have been condemned? Or would they have been condemned if they had not said that?
We are on our way there. And who am I speaking to? Is this Brother Combs?
Yeah.
Shalom. We on our way there, my friend. Just hold on. We're going to get to it.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what they did and how what happened.
Let me go a step further than that, Sister Yaina, before you go there. You understand? See, just like the time when we go back into the wilderness, we're going to have to choose whether to do the laws or not.
I'm on my way there, too. If you just give me a minute, I'm on my way. I promise you. Watch. Verse 13. And Moshe rose up and his minister Joshua, and Moshe went up into the mount of Yah. All right. And he said unto the elders, tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. So he told the 70 elders, you wait right here until we come back, and then we'll deal with it. Now, Brother Donia, I want you to tell the group, from those 70 elders, what book materialized from that experience right there?
Say what again?
What book from those 70 elders materialized from that experience?
Deuteronomy. I want to say, I defer to Brother Leonard.
Good answer.
It's not Deuteronomy, it's the Talmud.
The Talmud.
That's where the Talmud came from. The Talmud came from the 70 elders that went up on Mount Sinai with Moshe in the midst of them, and they came back and they wrote the Talmud, and then they enhanced it when they went into Babylon.
Yeah.
That's right, because there was a oral law at that particular time.
Absolutely.
Then they changed it. Yeah. Okay.
And that's where the Talmud came from. It was orally transcribed into a book, and that's where they got the Talmud from.
Excuse me. I have a question. The Talmud, are we talking about the thing that these Jews use?
Yes, sir.
Esau.
Hey.
Esau, yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
Yep, that's where it came from. All right, here we go. Verse 15. And Moshe went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount.
Let me step in there for a minute. That was the first Talmud. The second Talmud was written by those Europeans.
Right. After it was enhanced when they went into Babylon, because that's why they call it the Babylonian Talmud.
That is correct.
Now, they probably added some more to it, which I'm sure they did. All right, verse 16. And the glory of the Most High abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moshe out of the midst of the cloud. So Moshe went up on the Sabbath day and spent time with the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 17. And the sight of the glory of Yah was like devouring fire on the top of the mountain in the eyes of the children of Israel. Verse 18. And Moshe went into the midst of the cloud and got him up into the mount. And Moshe was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. All right, any questions?
Yes. He said 40 days and 40 nights. Why? That sounds kind of, I don't know, weird. 40 days and 40 nights. Why?
Because Yeshua did it.
Yeah, I mean, he went up everything. He went up there 40. That was the first time. He had went up many times after that. Everybody thinks that it was just one experience. He went up there that one time and got everything he needed. No, he went up and down, up and down, up and down many a times, because he got a lot of instructions while Yah was in the midst of Mount Sinai.
Okay. I have another question. Moses was an old man.
Yes, he was.
this up and down thing. So I would think that Yah gave him strength as an old man to go up and down this mountain. To give him the strength to go up and down this mountain, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Look at when he died.
Wouldn't he do the same thing?
Boy, y'all getting excited.
Old men are in better shape then than they are today.
Would he
tell you what shape he was in when he died. He said that he was still could see, eyes was good, he still was strong and everything when he took him on Mount Nebo.
Right.
And you can't be in the presence of Yah like he was and be sickly. That's why I say we don't really understand Yah like we need to understand him, because in him is power. And when he came down off the mountain, they said his face shined so that he had to put something over it. It shined like the sun.
Okay.
Did he take Joshua with him, though?
Well, would he not do the same thing today?
Oh, we have so much to you. Brother Combs, we have so much to show you. You just hold on. We're going to get you there.
Diana.
Yes.
There's a couple questions in the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
One guest says, when Moshe built the altar and pillars, could he have been setting up a portal? Why is the scenario with the altar and pillars play a part throughout the scriptures?
Because, so which goes back to covenant. Why don't you answer that for them, Sister Sanaya? Why does the altar and the 12 pillars play into what we're talking about? How does that have anything to do with covenant?
I think the 12 pillars represent the children of Israel, the different tribes.
Exactly.
And the altar is a replica of the altar that is set up in the kingdom of heaven.
And what is the altar for?
Sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice. You got to have something to sacrifice the animals on. That's where all of the sacrifice took place that was on the altar. So when you think about altar, don't think about church. You know, because we got to throw all that stuff out of our minds.
Right.
We're not talking about an altar that a pastor stands at church. And we're going to get to that because I cover all of that in the lessons. Because the Most High tells them to make an altar, and he said that when you make it, make sure you make it of the earth. Because there has to be something set up for the sacrifice to be on. Because before there can be a covenant, there has to be a what?
Sacrifice.
A sacrifice, and blood has to be shed. Mm-hmm. So you can't have one without the other. You have to have somewhere to put the animal once you kill it. Do I believe it was a portal? No. I believe that that's something that the Caucasian is trying to teach, because they're trying to bring up this magical, mystical moment where the children of Israel had a portal, and they had Yah with them. There was no need for a portal. He was already there.
Right.
That's what the Caucasian teaches. They always add that extra in there to make it say, oh, that is deep. And there's nothing deep about that, because Yah was already there. There was no need for a portal. When you have the creatorial God with you, what do you need a portal for? Everybody trying to get to him anyway, so he was there with them. There was no need to go anywhere. They was already right there with him.
He was right there, and he always told them that I will come down and I will commune with you.
That's right. He did. He came and had lunch with those 70-something people.
Yes, he did.
He sat down and had lunch with him. He said he didn't touch the nobles. Oh, let me go back. See, I knew we was going to get into this, because this is the good stuff. You know, I don't understand why people don't read the Old Testament. I've never understood it, but, you know, it's like, wow. You know, here we go. Verse number 11, he said, and upon the nobles of the children of Israel, he laid not his hand. Also, they saw Yah and did eat and drink. Can you imagine what that experience must have been like?
I wouldn't have been able to eat.
And then the thing is, what did they eat? They never say what they ate. Because they didn't have no food with them. So whatever was, it was prepared when they got there. So whatever it was that they ate and they drank, hey, that's a whole nother lesson all by itself. Because when you invited to lunch, you don't have to bring lunch with you.
That's right.
Lunch was already prepared if they ate and drank.
Boy, I'd love to know what that was.
Say that again.
I would love to know what they ate.
Well, that should help us to be reminded that we don't have to be concerned when we're in the wilderness or any other places with the Most High. We will be provided for.
That's right, sis. He said,
What is word, see?
I don't worry about it no more. It's some people that ask those questions, well, what we going to eat? We going to have everything we need.
You know, like you said earlier, we got to get a lot of the movies and stuff that they show us out of our head, because when you read here in the scripture, they make it seem like Moses was just standing up for 40 days and 40 nights, and God was just talking to him, and he was just standing there looking. Clearly, a whole lot was going on, more than him just standing there just looking, and God just talking to him from a cloud. You know, some of the other books said that he showed him the end and the beginning, and all he was talking to him about all kinds of stuff.
Yes, he was. Can you imagine? I would love to have that moment. I would love to be able to have that moment where I could just sit down and ask questions. But I know that when I had my experience, that's the last thing on your mind, is to be able to ask any kind of questions. You sitting there in shock, like, okay, who is this person right here? Because now, do I believe that Yah created everything? Yes, I do. Do I believe that he comes and he involves himself in creation? Yes, I do. Do I believe that the angels interact with us a representation of Yah? Yes, I do. Why do I believe that? It's because it happens all down through this Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
And the
people going to be here every day. His host of heaven is right here all the time. So, yes, I do. All right, here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 5. All right, this is where he introduces the Ten Commandments at. He gives them, this is a part of the covenant. So we're going to do this chapter. Here we go. Let's see where we're going to start. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 1. It says, and Moshe called all Israel and said unto them, hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments, which I speak in your ear this day, that ye may learn them and keep them and do them. Watch. The Most High, our Elohim, made a covenant with us in Horeb. The Most High made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. All right, so this is a different covenant. This ain't the covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He made a different covenant with the children of Israel. Watch what he says. He says, the Most High talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of fire. Now, let me ask you a question, because I'm going to mess with y'all today. Is this getting ready to repeat itself?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. What did he said, I'm going to plead with you what?
Again.
Face to face.
Face to face. He said, I'm going to plead with you face to face. I'm coming to see you. I'm going to bring you to the wilderness where I'm going to plead with you face to face. Watch, verse 5. He said, I stood between the Most High and you at that time to show you the word of Yah. For ye were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mount, saying, watch. He said, why? Oh, wait a minute, I'm going back. He said, they said, we don't want to hear his voice no more. Don't let us hear no more his voice. The Most High said, this covenant is between us. Now watch what the reasoning is behind the covenant. Deuteronomy chapter 8. He said, all the commandments, verse 1, which I command thee this day, shall ye observe to do, so that ye may live. That's why we tell everybody, when you get ready to keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, it is life unto you.
That is correct.
Watch. And multiply and go in and possess the land which the Most High swore unto your fathers. Watch. Verse 2. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Most High thy Elohim led thee these 40 years in the wilderness. There go that 40 again. He's led them 40 years. Moshe was up there 40 days and 40 nights, and they were led around in the wilderness wilderness for 40 years. Watch. Why did he do it? To humble thee and to prove thee to know what is in thy heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or not. You think that's going to happen again?
Yes, it will.
I hope it ain't 40 years, though.
You think it's going to happen again? Of course it is. He's going to take us the same way.
So I think
that's humble us and prove us to see whether or not we're going to do what he said we're going to do.
Yes.
Watch, verse 3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know. So he made you go hungry on purpose.
Wow.
Then he fed you. Somebody was saying something. What were you saying, sis?
No, I was just going to say I think that's also necessary because right now, being that we're in this captive state and we're soon to come out, and there's been so much confusion that there are a lot of things that the Most High would have us to do, and we continue to say, well, you know, if I don't do this day, it's okay because I have some grace, or I think we can, or I think we can't do this, like maybe can we eat pork, can we not eat pork? There's so much confusion that in this state you will have to choose. It's going to be very clear. This is what I require of you, and then people will have to make a choice, and so they will know, he will know in their heart whether or not they truly do have a desire to keep his commandments. Some people are doing stuff not because they don't believe that that they can't do it or they can do it, but it's more so that they don't want to do it. But I think at that point you won't have a choice, he'll see whether or not that what you really want to do, and you will know for yourself, so you can no longer lie to yourself about following the ways of the Most High.
Guess what? He see it now.
Yeah, I mean, for us, because as people, we get to lie to ourselves sometimes. You'll try to convince yourself that you're not doing something because it's not clear.
Right.
At that point, there won't be any of that. You will know for sure you're not doing it because you don't want to.
Yes, and you know why that's going to be possible? Because all of the things, and I think that I'm glad you brought that up because these are the things that people have an issue with understanding. Well, just think about everything you've learned here once you opened up your eyes, from the hospital rooms to the car rides to the elementary schools to the junior high schools to the houses to everything. All of that will be gone.
Everything.
There won't be no more police departments.
No.
There won't be no more ambulance services. There won't be no more hospitals. No more teachers. There won't be no more football games. No more baseball games on TV. All of this that we have experienced here will be no more in our lives. And I don't think people really realize to the magnitude of how this has influenced us, but to understand that everything that we know will be erased. It will be no more. You know, there will be no more television to turn on and channels to watch. Whether or not we have a cell phone with us when we leave, that's even debatable.
It wouldn't even matter.
It's not. I mean, and when you think about that, sometimes people get scared thinking about the things that have brought us to a comfort level that we won't have anymore, but we were never meant to live like this.
Wait a minute. We won't have no more cell phones?
We won't need them. Why would you need them?
Who you going to call?
Right, who you going to call? For real.
Yes, sir.
I mean, who you really going to call? Once we get to that point and we out of here, you made your choice.
Yeah, because all those things like our cell phones and all those things that we depend on today in this world has become gods to us. They become things that we worship.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, everything is going to be worked because he said that I am going to do a new thing in you. And so everything is going to go back into reverse order. It's going to be changed. And all those little gods, we're going to have to stay in
place. Sis, we're going back to the same place.
Going back to the same place.
Right now.
Yeah, and that's why all of us on this call need to take a really deep breath and realize what we're about to get ourselves into. Because the cravings are going to be crucial.
Yes. It's going to be a humbling experience. What did he say? To humble you and to prove you. To see whether
we'll be going back to the original the original way that Israel lived.
That's right. going back to, and guess what? We have to start back where they started at, so that when we're elevated back into the land, we will be able to enjoy those things, and he knows that these people that make the cut is going to be able to keep his law, statutes, and his commandments. Ain't gonna be no more hair weave. It ain't gonna be no more fake eyelashes. It ain't gonna be no more fake fingernails. It ain't gonna be no more fake nothing. Whatever you leave with, that's what you're gonna be with. So I suggest for all of you women that got all that stuff implanted and stuff, take it out. Because when we get ready to leave, ain't gonna be no doctors there to remove it.
The operative word that you mentioned there was fake.
Yes.
Hey, yeah, we got
all of that stuff is going to be over with. And guess what? For us that are hoary heads, ain't going to be no more hair dye. So everybody's hair going to be white.
Right.
Beautified, though. You know, we've been corrupted so much in this land, in this society, and we're going back to the culture. See, there's all these different other ethnicities. They have their own culture. And guess what? So do we. And he's taken us back to our original culture, the culture of the kingdom.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Back to the original state that he made and created us in his image and in his likeness. We're going back to it.
Exactly.
We're gonna be the real elders this time. Ain't gonna be no more of it. No more of it. There's gonna be no more vanity for anybody to have to deal with any of it. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. You're gonna be seen, like you say, in the beauty of who you really are.
It's gonna be better.
And that's good enough. Yeah. That's good enough because he made us in his likeness and in his image, so we can't fail there.
That's
we be the best that we could possibly ever be in the environment we're supposed to be in.
And we'll have health there. Health is going to be there. You know, I don't know if any of you all have heard the Wilderness YouTubes that we have on there. We have about 5 or 6 on there. Start at 1 and listen and go back to YouTube and put in the Wilderness, our next prophetic journey, and start with the one and go all the way through the other ones because we cover everything in that so that you know what to expect when you get there. Because what we're reading about right now, we get ready to do all over again.
See, what's so difficult is that we're looking at this stuff through rose-colored glasses. You understand? See, it's difficult for us to see that because we have not seen these kind of things that the Almighty had created. He made everything perfect. It has its own, everything feeds off itself. You understand? But, you know, cars and airplanes and all of that stuff, man, that destroys the earth.
All right, so let's keep it because I knew we was going to bring up something. Here we go. This is the same. This is still part about verse 3. He says, that he might make thee to know that man doeth not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yah doeth man live. Right. Okay. He said, thy raiment wax not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. So like the brother said, with him being old, going up and down that mountain, the Most High gave him strength. He gave the whole nation strength. Because we were all one nation moving in the same direction. You know, and he said, all them years your feet didn't swell and your clothes didn't get old on you. Why? Thou shalt also consider in thy heart that as a man chases his son, so the Most High thy Elohim chases thee. He said, therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Most High thy Elohim to walk in his ways and to fear him. For the Most High thy Elohim bringeth thee into a good land. Watch. A land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths, that spring out of valleys and hills. Oh, have mercy. A land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates. A land of olive oil and honey. A land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness. Thou shalt not lack anything in it. You know that had to be a place. Why?
One more thing. Go ahead. One more thing.
Stones are iron, out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think we're going to see him? Personally, I want to see him first before I see the land. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was saying, you know, I want to see the person that's in charge of my soul, the one who saved my soul. Is it possible we're going to see him first before the
Well, we're on our way to the wilderness, and Yah said he's going to be there to plead with us face to face.
That's correct.
Yes, I believe that he will be there. When you say the land, though, we are going to the land, because even though we're going to Mount Sinai and not in Jerusalem, that is still a part of the land that he gave us. Oh, that's a part of the land, man. Because, you know, they want you to believe that little bitty piece of Israel is the land. No, that land, man, is huge.
Right. I found that out the hard way, but yeah, you're right.
You know, so we are going to the land, and he's going to be there. And he said, that's why I said, go to the wilderness videos and watch those, because it talks about how trees is going to spring up out of nowhere, and it's going to look like the Garden of Eden. It's going to have so much stuff there for us. And what we're reading about right now, we're getting ready to experience that while we're being in the place of safety. We ain't going to have nothing to worry about, so I don't see the sense in a cell phone myself.
Well, you know, the point that I was going to bring up earlier was that water is the bread of life. You understand? The food of life. It brings about without the water, there's no springs, no trees, no brooks. You understand? There's no crops, no nothing. So water is the life bread of the earth.
Right.
Yeah. I can prove that. I live in the desert, so yeah, I know you're right about that.
Now, well, watch what he says. Watch what he says in 10. He says, when thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Most High thy Elohim for the good land which he has given thee.
Hallelujah.
Right. He said, beware now that thou forget not the Most High thy Elohim, and not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. Lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses, and dwelled therein, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thy have is multiplied, then thy heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Most High thy Elohim, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and droughts, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of sin, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee to do thee good at thy latter end. And thou shalt say, thou say in thy heart, my power and the might of my hand has gotten me this wealth.
Hallelujah.
He said, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Don't think it was you.
All right.
When you finally get over there and things start going smooth, don't forget who the one was that brought you out of your mess and made it possible for you to do all these things. Don't forget my laws, my statutes, and my commandments, where you think you had the power to do this, because this didn't have nothing to do with you.
Right.
Hallelujah.
I have a question on that, sister. We're going to leave the land with wealth and stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what it says. Now, when you think since we're going to do the same thing as they did back in the day, when you think that the wealth that we're going to get leaving this country, some of it would be used to build a temple?
No, we won't be building. I don't know what we're going to do out in the wilderness, but I'm sure that that's not what it's going to be, because the Bible doesn't say anything about us building a temple.
Well, no. I'm talking about like the Israelites, when they got back to their land, didn't Yah ask for money to build the temple?
Oh, you're talking about the tent tabernacle.
Okay.
When they were in the wilderness before, they put together the tent tabernacle, yes. And then Solomon built the temple after they got into the land.
Okay, well my question was, what did they do with the money they got when they left Egypt?
The gold and the silver that they had?
Yes.
They gave some of it for the temple. They gave free will offering.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Right, for the tent tabernacle. That was the tent that they built out in the wilderness, yes.
Solomon's temple, too.
Right, but Solomon, by that time we had went into the land and set up everything, and yes, that was true. They did bring it for Solomon's temple too. Yeah.
And but not only that, see, what happened was we got wealth from other nations when we went in there and took that stuff from David and them. When they went to war, they took stuff. You understand? That when they took them lands over, you understand? David and them took stuff from them. You understand? Joshua and them took stuff. You understand? So that builds up the stash. You understand what I'm saying? So it wasn't just the money, the things that they got from Egypt, but it was from those things that they took from other nations also.
That's true.
Okay. Another question. Since we got all this wealth and everything, what are we going to do with it? I mean, we're in the kingdom. Do we need money?
We're not in the kingdom. We're just in the land.
Remember now, here's another factor here. You understand? Money is not we looking at money as dollars and change and this, that, and the other. Money at that particular time, or during this particular time, it was silver and gold and precious jewels.
Right.
Right. So what do we do with it?
We keep it and we use it for whatever we need to use it for, because we were once the most powerful and wealthy nation on the earth. So in order for us to be that way, the other kingdoms will still be around. Russia, Germany, and all them places will still be here. You know, because the scripture talks about Russia coming up against us while we're dwelling safely in the wilderness. And it talks about our silver and our gold and our cattle and all those things. So the other nations will still be around. You know, we will use it for whatever we need to use it for.
Won't there be
one thing we got to...
No more cell phones.
One thing we got to realize is that, you know, we have this mindset of how we live now. We got to realize that we're going back to how we used to live. So we're going to have a lot of animals. We're going to have a lot of. It's going to be more. What's the word I'm looking for? More agricultural. We ain't going to have no factories and go to Walmart and get bread and all that stuff. So when we leave out of here, we're going back to the way we used to be.
You mean to tell me that there are not going to be any more Escalades and stuff?
Ain't gonna be no nothing. You can't.
No, you're gonna have an Escalade. It's gonna be a camel. I'm just messing, but I don't know.
That's true. Hold on, y'all. Let me finish. He said, but what? Verse 18. He said, but thou shalt remember the Most High thy Elohim, for it is He that giveth thee power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant, which He sware unto thy fathers as it is this day. So He's going to make you wealthy. Why? So He can establish the covenant. He can complete the covenant that He made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Watch. And it shall be, if thou do and all forget the Most High thy Elohim and walk after other gods and serve them and worship them, I testify against you this day that ye shall surely perish.
That's it, correct. That's the agreement that we're gonna have to make. We're gonna have to make a decision.
We almost finished. Hold on, let me finish this and we'll open up the floor. It says, as the nations which the Most High destroyed before your face, so shall ye perish. He said the same way you did to other nations, He's going to do you the same way, because ye would not be obedient unto the voice of the Most High, your Elohim. All right, any questions? Here we go.
I got a comment.
Ma'am, no comment or anything. I just got to go. I'm taking my wife out to dinner. And you guys have a good time, because I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Shalom, shalom.
Where you going?
I'm going to take my wife out to dinner.
Okay, all right.
Guys, later, man.
All right, the comment that I was going to make is that, see, what we here, you understand, we can't even fathom the richness of this covenant that we have because we stuck on this American stuff.
Absolutely. And that is very, very, very true. And there's nothing that anyone can do about. We have to do what the Most High has called us to do. And then we're going to He has to give us the wealth back, because look at how long we've been poor.
Yeah. Sister Ina, we're asking those kind of questions. But my view is that, first of all, when we get back to where we're going, we'll be redeemed at one point. And we will recover our strength, even the elderly, And we'll just be beautiful in our essence because, we're in His presence and we're in the land. And aren't we supposed to have streets made to go? Won't we be living in luxury?
No, not until the end of time. But when we go back into the land, we're going to live there as a regular in a land, and we're going to be there just like they're there. So you mixing apples and oranges. But we have to have our wealth back because when we go back over into the land, we won't need anybody. We'll be self-sustaining, basically. We won't need any more welfare system, no more food stamps, no more anything. And I appreciate you guys, being all right with the brother and his wife because they're new, and we have to do a lesson on the Sabbath and all that good stuff. I appreciate nobody. Okay.
I sure was going to say something, too.
I'm glad you did.
No, I thought I wasn't going to say anything. Hallelujah.
Yeah, just sometimes, it has to be something that's
it
has to be mine. All right, so we have Abraham's covenant in the wilderness. All right, let's do Abraham's covenant. All right, Joshua chapter 5. Here we go. It says, all the kings. Joshua chapter 5, verse 1. And it came to pass when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the Most High had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel until we were passed over. There's Jordan. That's what Jordan looked like. That's the river of Jordan. Hold on, I got another really pretty picture. Hold on. That's Jordan. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Watch. That their hearts melted, neither was their spirit in them anymore because of the children of Israel. They were scared of us because y'all did some miraculous things in front of the other nations for us.
Yes. That is correct.
Yes.
He dried this. Let me show you back. He dried that bad boy up so we could cross over.
Yeah, they were afraid of
death. They said, "Oh my goodness."
Yes.
You think he ain't getting ready to show out this time?
He's gonna show out like they never seen.
You think Egypt was something? He said, "Wait till this time comes."
How can they see a picture? I don't see anything.
Well, you probably can't see the screen right now. Which I told you, if you email us and we'll get you the information so that you can see the screen next time. The email address is the Yehudah Project. I'll give it to you at the end of the show, but it's the Yehudah Project at gmail.com. So then you'll be able to open up your screen there.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, no problem. But this is just a picture that I got off of the internet of the Jordan River. Absolutely amazing. And if he did all this, they were scared of him.
They scared of him.
Watch what he said. At that time, the Most High said unto Joshua, make these sharp knives and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time. Why? Because we have to make sure we honor the covenant that he made with Abraham.
And one other thing here, too, is that the elders died off.
That's right. I'm getting to that. It's going to cover all that. Watch. And Joshua made him sharp knives and circumcised the children of Israel at the heel of the foreskin. And somebody said, well, that don't say it was just men. It could have been women, too. No, it classifies it. He said, and this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt that were males.
That was male.
Mm-hmm. Even all the men of war died in the wilderness by the way after they came out of Egypt. He said, now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised.
Yep.
For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Most High, unto whom the Most High sware that he would not show them the land, which the Lord sware unto their fathers that he would give us a land that floweth with milk and honey. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. During that particular time, when the 8th day, the first to the 8th day was not established at that particular time. That's why it says that the children that went into the wilderness with them, they had not circumcised.
Well, let's see. Let's watch what it says. It says, and their children whom they had raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised. For they were uncircumcised because they had not circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their places in the camp till they were whole. So they had to wait until they healed. And the Most High said unto Joshua, this day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off you. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. And that's Gilgal right there.
Sister Amina?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and you were talking about all these other nations and everything that was afraid of y'all, the Most High. His own people was afraid of him, because when Moses was up on that mountain, they said, "Don't make us go up there." They don't want to see his face, you know.
Exactly. So they wasn't allowed to go up there. They could hear it, but they weren't allowed.
They said, "You go up there and you talk to him. We don't want to talk to him. We don't want to see him." So they were afraid of him because, it was scary.
Yeah, it was. And this is what Gilgal looks like today, and that's another picture of Gilgal.
Well, see, the reason why they were afraid, I think that's a ploy that they used, you understand, so that they wouldn't have to be in agreements with what the Almighty had established. They know that coming from Moshe, they can go astray on that one. You understand? But if they say that, oh man, we don't want to hear from him, lest we die. This is what it says in the scripture. You understand? But they have no evidence of that. That was a ploy that they used so that they didn't have to be in agreement with the law to a full extent.
And it says Gilgal is the name of one or more places in the Hebrew Bible. Gilgal is mentioned 39 times in particular in the book of Joshua as the place where the Israelites camped after crossing the Jordan River. Watch verse 10. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of old corn of the land on the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the selfsame day. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as the captain of the host of the Most High am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host, of the Most High's host, said unto Joshua, Loose thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. Who was Joshua talking to?
Melchizedek.
Joshua.
No, who was Joshua talking to?
Michael. Melchizedek.
Michael is the captain of the host.
Oh, okay.
Michael is the captain of the host. And who is the host?
Yeah.
All the angels.
All the angels, God's army. So Michael is the captain of the army, of the military army of Yah.
What job is Metatron?
I'm sorry, Megatron.
What job is Megatron? Is Megatron and Melchizedek the same one, same angel?
Now, where do you get Metatron from?
That's a host. That's a host. That was supposed to be when Enoch went up. They saying that in the book of Enoch, the second book of Enoch, that Enoch was turned into an angel. And they call him Metatron. But
okay. That's from the book of Enoch. Okay, I remember. Okay, yeah, well, those things, like I said, we try to stay in the Bible when it comes to that. But, I do know what you're talking about because I read the book of Enoch. And in order for Enoch to survive in whatever realm he's in, that he's not of earth, they had to change his existence. Because flesh and blood cannot what? Come on, somebody, Bible scholar.
You can't enter in.
You can't enter into the kingdom. So flesh and blood can't enter. So they had to change Enoch into something else so that he would be able to be maintained there, because there is no flesh and blood there.
Right. The spirit.
So it had to be transformed.
Exactly. So that's where the Metatron comes in at, in my opinion. Any questions?
I'm stepping away from the mic. I'm stepping away from the mic. I got to take care of some
okay, no problem. All right, we're in Jeremiah chapter 31, a nation born. So we know that in Israel we developed, like the sister said the other day, we became a nation. And when you have a nation has to be governed by laws, statutes, commandments, ordinances, everything to govern us as a nation. That separates us from everyone else. We are separate and apart. We are Yah's people, and he has given us a covenant that he has made with us. We agreed to that covenant, and as a result of that, he gave us laws, statutes, commandments to follow by. And we're getting ready to break down the law, because we have to be able to break the law down so that everybody understands what the law is. And we know that coming out of Christianity, we have been taught that we don't have to keep the law, because the law was our schoolmaster and all that kind of stuff. But guess what? My rebuttal to that is, you keeping theirs. You ain't doing what you want to do in this country. You following their law. And if you don't follow it, there's a punishment that comes with not following it. But as soon as we got off the boat and we stepped on this soil, they told us the law was done away with. We didn't have to do Yah's law anymore. But we know now, as his people, we are required to keep his law, because we are a nation. Jeremiah, I heard one of the Hebrew Israelite teachers say, we ain't no nation. I don't know where she getting that from. I said, Jeremiah 31, let's go see what it says. 31, it says, behold, the days cometh, saith the Most High, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehudah. Watch. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, with which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Most High. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Most High. I will put my law, their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they will be my people. Watch. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brethren, saying, know the Most High? For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yah. For I will forgive their iniquities, and I will remember their sins no more. Thus saith the Most High, which gives the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon, and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Elohim of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Most High. Then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. So how does Yah see the seed of Israel as a what?
One nation.
It's a nation.
As a nation. He sees us as a nation.
Which chapter and verse did you read just now?
I'm in Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 36.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yah, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus saith the Most High, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all they have done, saith the Most High. All right, any questions? So we have to understand that the importance of who we are, the things that we have done, he still sees us as a nation. No man will be able to change it. It doesn't matter whether we're in captivity or not. It doesn't matter what land you're in, what country you're in. We're scattered all over the world, but we're still a nation. And he said, I'm going to make a new covenant with them. I'm going to put the law into their inward parts. So what that tells me is that no matter how much time passes, we as a nation still have to keep that law.
Yeah, you know, it also goes to show you, like, how we know that the people that are over in the land is not the right people, right? Because verse 34 says, you won't even have to teach anybody. Nobody's going to say, do you know the Lord?
Mm-hmm. And we won't have to teach them anymore. We have to teach them now. Because why? Yep. Because they're telling us we don't have to keep it. Nobody knows anything about his law. Most of the people in the church system don't even know the Old Testament. They know nothing about it. The first thing they'll tell you is, we don't have to teach that.
I had conversations with, people who say they're Jews and they don't even know the Bible. They don't know none of that stuff. But they're Jewish and they're the ones that got this promise. But they don't know nothing about their own God.
They don't even follow it because you know why they don't follow it is because they follow the Talmud.
Exactly.
They set up something separate and apart from everything else that the Most High had given us so that they didn't have to follow the Bible because they are not the people. They're not, you know what people are going to say? Okay, well, if you following the law, statutes, and the commandments, and you all are the people, then why hasn't this happened? And what's wrong with this ain't happening? Because according to the book, all these things are supposed to happen. So they can make up their own version, and that's what we're experiencing right now. Mm-hmm. Their version of what we see.
Yeah, the first thing out of their mouth, they say, well, I don't really, and you know right there. They don't know what they're talking about.
No. But guess what? The more we learn, the more we understand. When you know better, you do better. We are to keep that law. He gave that to govern us as a nation. That is what we need to govern us as a nation. That we know that certain things we don't do. And because if you didn't know, he said, I gave you these things. And I have a YouTube clip out there. It's called Don't Do These Abominable Customs. I would advise you guys to go in there because it spells out a lot of the things. And he said these things that the nations do before you came into this land, these were the things that they did. They slept with their father's sister and their mother's sister, and they slept with each other, and the mother slept with the son, and all kinds. He said, I don't want you to do these abominable things. Right. Don't do what they do. Don't follow their ordinances. They made laws back then, passed laws that people could do anything they wanted to do. So it doesn't matter what laws they pass.
Right.
That's what he means by righteous seed, too.
Yeah.
You get a righteous seed through his law.
Exactly. He said, do them that you may live.
Right.
Because what are the things that get us? When you really break down the illnesses and the sicknesses that we have, it's usually because of the food we eat, our sexual appetites,
Right.
And our bad choices in our behavior, some of the things that we do. It brings illness on us. It brings sickness on us. You know what I'm saying? When you understand that if you can govern yourself the way he says govern yourself, then guess what that does? That eliminates all those things.
Yes, it does.
It eliminates.
Can I break in here?
Yes, please do.
The sexual sins, if you think about it, that's the gateway for evil or evil spirits to come into you. Because when you go on and you go against God's laws, and He's telling you don't sleep with your parents, and your parents shouldn't be sleeping with you, and so on and so on, then the evil will definitely manifest itself into those offspring that is possibly produced, as well as in the people that's actually doing it.
Exactly. And guess what I want to share with you? We are in the society of some of these people that do those things.
Exactly. And also,
we have the laws now to say it's okay to sleep with an animal.
Yes.
So guess what we're not doing? We're not doing a judgment, because when that happens, you have a judgment for it. Take them outside the city and kill them.
Kill them and the animal. The same way with same sex, whatever it is, whether it's male or female, it doesn't matter. He said if you do that, both of them are to be put to death. Now, there are other things, too, in God's law that causes you to be put to death. So I don't want anybody to think, because I know I say that all the time, oh, you do that, you're going to be put to death. There's a whole lot of things that's in God's law that if we do, we're supposed to be put to death. But the punishment section of it is not being fulfilled now. But as we understand and we become conscious of the things that we do, we still don't do those things. Same with the dietary law. If you eat anything and everything that you feel like you want to eat, eventually it's going to take a toll on your body. If he tells you this animal is unclean, there's a reason why that animal is unclean. Right. And you are not to eat that animal. I don't care how good it tastes or what it is. You're not supposed to eat the animal. Now, we are in a society where our animals are not being, they being shot up with all kind of stuff. And in that instance, you got to bless everything that you eat. You got to ask y'all to take out any impurities and to bless your food for consumption, even with the vegetables. Some of them GMOs and hybrid foods and all that kind of stuff. But while we're here, we have to still do the best that we can.
Yes, that's it.
And those are the laws, the ceremonial laws. We have to keep the high holy days. We have to keep those as best as we can. The civil law, we have to keep those the best as we can. I can't take advantage of you and cheat you out of your money and think I'm getting ready to be blessed.
Right.
It don't work like that. The Most High don't operate. He has a certain code and a certain standard that he wants us to live by. And then they tell you, well, you ain't got to live by the law. But guess what? Some of them same laws have been written into this country where we are today.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I thought about was, whenever you work, you're supposed to get paid the day you finish working. And it's like we get a check 2 weeks later sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely. But that's why we have to teach those laws and begin to lay those laws out so people can see. Because big Christianity like, oh, we under grace now. We are no longer under the law. Okay, so but what does that mean exactly? I mean, really, what does that mean? So you mean you can do whatever you want to do in your behavior and you'll be fine and you don't have to worry about nothing? Because he'll forgive you even though you're doing the very thing that you're not supposed to do? What does that mean? So when a baby's born, it doesn't automatically know what to do and what not to do. You can tell it in a minute, don't touch that stove. That baby going to be curious, and he going to roll over there and touch that stove until his hand get burned.
That's right.
So the Most High lays the law out. This is what I want. This is what you can do, and this is what you cannot do. This is what you can eat, and this is what you cannot eat. He said, because you are my people, I have set you apart from all the people all over on the whole earth. You are set apart and set aside.
Wow. And we still like little children today. We still like those little children, have not grown up.
Oh, because people, they want to do what they want to do.
They want to do what they want, correctly.
They want to do what they want. You know, even, like I said, the lady on divorce court with the whole husband, I felt so sorry for the brother. You know, but like I said, we have to continue to pray because it's difficult to try to explain something in a system that's heathenistic. It is. You're going to look like you crazy trying to explain that, you know, on television. He didn't really want to put her out there like that. He was a very calm and humble brother. And he didn't really want to put her out there like that. It was her out there flamboyant and laughing and jigging and thinking it was funny. And I said, you probably have lost the best man that you'll ever have in your whole life because you didn't want to take the time to understand what he was trying to live. And how he was trying to do things. But you're going to figure it out after a while when you get hooked up with the wrong partner, and you'll be all right after that.
Sister Yaina.
Yes, sir.
This is Brother Emmanuel. You were in Jeremiah, and at 31st verse, it was saying, the time is coming, declares Yahweh, well, I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehudah. I'm just looking at that. And I understand that we're going to have to take on these new skills and, you know, keep these heirloom seeds and all that. But, you know, we at Shabbat, some of us, we say, you know, when we drink the wine, you know, that Yehoshua HaMashiach took the wine, he poured it and said, drink you all of it, for this is the blood of the new covenant, which is a semblance, you know, that has been shed for many.
Right.
I know we at the end. Is that something you got time to address, or that verse 31 where we're talking about a new covenant with us, you know, the modern or the new Israel, the children of our forefathers?
Well, that is what he covered in 31. He talked about what the new covenant was with the children of Israel, and it still went back to the law. It went back to the law. If you read 32, 33, he said, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Most High, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their heart and will be their Elohim, and they will be my people. He said that you shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Most High, for they shall all know me from the least unto the greatest, saith the Most High, for I will forgive their iniquities and remember their sin anymore. So that was the new covenant that he had established with us. Now, what they're talking about in terms of the New Testament and understanding those are just the symbols of the covenant, because there has to be a sacrifice, there has to be an animal killed, and there has to be blood shed.
Thank you, sister.
That is what covenant is all about, is to understand that though any time there's a covenant, those things have to be in place. But it still comes back to the law. Right. Because when the Most High comes and establishes us back as a nation, these people aren't going to be able to do the things that they're doing right now. All that's going to be over with.
And when I read this, and I'm still saying to all of us, you know, if you've been collecting heirloom seeds and you got them in your basement, you know, these are skill sets that we've got to acquire, because, you know, we were an agribusiness kind of people for years and years and years, and a lot of us, we don't have those skills where we watch sisters can, you know, foods and put them up to store for, you know, for better days. You know what I'm saying? We've lost a lot of those skills, so we're going to have to study those skills before we get up out of here. All of us.
All right. Well, look, let me end the class here real quick. Now, it doesn't mean for you all to hang up, because all of you all hang up when I say this. But I'm going to end the recording. So I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. We hope that you have enjoyed the class. We will resume this topic back again next Shabbat, because we have to go back into the covenant and understand all of the components of it, so that when we go back to the wilderness, we will know what to expect. And when God gets us there, we will be able to do what our forefathers didn't do and complete what they didn't complete. And I want to thank you all for listening to us today at this Shabbat. And we say shalom, shalom. Everybody want to say shalom, shalom?
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.